Yep, I'm up. I'm probably not going to sleep either. 'Cause I went to sleep at a weird time. Now I'm up. It's already like 3. So I'm gonna tie this humpy jig really quick. Like a variation of it. Hey Tish, you getting ready to go to work? I'm assuming you're getting ready to go head out and do something. Yeah, I like fell asleep and then I woke up at a weird time and I was like, oh, I'm up now. Usually I'm up till that time and then I go to sleep. Try to anyway, but not yesterday. I'm kind of tired. I was making like a cool humpy jig here. It's kind of a large humpy jig, but we're making it this way because the jig is so. This is a pretty big jig for when it comes to humpies. This is pretty large, but it'll work. I've caught them on pretty large jig. They can handle a jig this size. The hook gap is pretty big on this, but should be fine. That's why I'm making the tail like it is. You have to keep coming in and checking things out generally. Otherwise, no, I'm not. I don't just make anybody moderator. Got to know who you is. Yeah, me too. Like I was sitting and then I was like, cook some stuff to eat. And I was like, I'll just make a bunch of this chicken and I'll make it so I can make burritos later and I'll just have it ready to go. So I like have all the meat already cooked. I just need to warm the meat back up and then make my burritos for tomorrow. And I was like, sat down and I fell asleep. And I was like, usually I'd be up, but because I went fishing Monday and was out there like all day, I was kind of like, I just like dozed off, went to sleep. I was like, yeah, that's rare. That's kind of rare for me. So, all right, and then we're gonna take a couple strands of this. This is gonna be, let's see. I'm having trouble with the some of that resin I was using. I was like, this. I know what's kind of the issue with it, but I have to try a different type of one of the other resin glues. But I know why it's doing what it's doing. It still works, but the resin I've been using is kind of. I figured it was there's something with the mixture of the resin, and I already knew that was going to be an issue. Like, and there's a couple things that are supposed to go with it that aren't in there. They didn't come with it, and I realized that they weren't there. So I'm like, yeah, this is probably aftermarket because I bought it from Amazon. So who knows who had it before I got a hold of it? Because it was one of the other sellers. It wasn't like I don't think it's a super well known seller, so that's why. And I was like, yeah, who knows? But it doesn't bother me. I mean, it just means it takes longer for the resin to. It takes a little longer for the resin to cure, so I don't really. So if you need to fish the next day, and it's a large fly, it's probably not the stuff I got. Is probably not what you want to use. That's what I. But it did cure this really well. If you look, you can see the sheen on there, and it's dry. It's pretty dry, but it took a while for that to dry like that. Took a little too long for that to dry like that. So we're gonna put a little crystal flash in this tail. Got 3 pieces, 4 pieces in there. And what I'm doing is we're gonna take this. This is something I like to do with these humpy jigs that I've been always playing around with. It's nothing really that great, fancy, because you can just have a tail like that. But I like to put like that and then have the tail a little longer. So like there's my contrast on the tail, and so it's like like a shrimp, because that's what they eat. So it's just basically like you're making, it's just like one of those saltwater shrimp flies or something, and that's what they eat. So the pink salmon, and that's why they strike the pink colors. Yeah, I just did that this afternoon. Right before that, I made that food. I was like, I'm gonna make that. Just gonna make it, and I hung it up to dry. If you look in there, there's like pink, a little bit of pink inside there, in the pink tail. But this is like more red. But this is like fire orange, so it's got a dash of red in it. That's why it kind of seems like it matches. But they're actually there's like 3 different colors there, but they kind of blend together to kind of give it a type of, kind of a purple, reddish, pink. And I use flame red, actually, like a flame red, like a flame. They say it's like orange, but it's really like a flame red, flame pink. And it's like, it looks red, but when you look close at it, it's not. It's not. It's actually almost like it's a pink. And they love that color too. In like low visibility water. So if the water gets kind of cloudy, that works really good. You don't need no UV if you got a jig that looks like that. It'll catch coho too sometimes, but that's a really bright jig in like kind of stained water. Fish can see that thing from a mile away. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's that color. I mean, like that's red. See, that head of that jig almost looks like it's that red, but it's not. It's like flame orange. It's actually closer to that color, this color jig head. If you look, and this is a hot pink, so you can see it when I put it up on next to it. But and like they call that like orange, like a pink brown or something like that. And it's not even brown. That looks orange under there. And then that next to, that's orange. That's orange. But that's what it's labeled in the package. It says like it's like pink black. That's what they call it, but it's really like orange or something like that. But you never know. When these things are hanging on the racks, they can be opened. So depending on which store they're at, and so some people, these can be easily opened, even though they're hanging on the racks. And I've had them where people were went in there and took stuff out of them. So yeah, it doesn't look like anything brown at all. I was like, this is not brown. But when they're hanging on the racks in the store, someone could just walk up to it and switch them around or be looking at them and not, and you wouldn't know if you didn't know, unless you're tied. You'd be like, wait a minute, that's not something weird going on here. And I have a couple. That's what happened. I think someone went and it probably was just people at the store or something playing around because I'm sure they fish or tie or something. So they probably bored or something, at the store, fishing tackle store or something, bored and probably were tying something or messing, looking at something and passing some time. And that's probably what happened. They just, they could have they could have took it out of the package and put it in a different package and not paid attention because they needed to get back to a register or something. Because I've seen that before. The old flash tourist fishing stores, sometimes that's what would happen. You walk in, the guys would be tying a fly while you're in there. So, and they could show you, now I don't know. It's probably the same, but I haven't been into a real fly store in since for a while, for a couple of years. I've been just kind of like going to places that have to do everything. They kind of do everything. They kind of have salmon stuff. They got the bass stuff. They have a little bit of everything, and they have the fly stuff. And I'm like, oh, they have a little fly section. I go in there and grab a few things. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So this is like a lot of feathers too for this kind of. It's like quite a bit of feathers. Like there's 2 in the center, 2 on the side, and 2 on the side. So that's quite a bit of feathers, but this is a pretty big jig, so it should look pretty good. It just uses a little bit more marabou. So that's why I'm using marabou's already cut. So the ones that some people would just throw away, I use them. Some people would just throw it away and grab a brand new fresh marabou, but I will take the cut ends ones and make more lures from them, and they work just as good. So I'm trying not to get that hook point and cut my thread, because that is a thing. I'm making these. And that, can't really do too much with it. Could make a dubbing out of that though. A little pieces like that, you can make kind of something out of them. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a little more crystal flash in there. But we're just gonna do it on the side, just a little, 2 pieces. That'll be fun. But it's just a Humpy Jig. They're really not that picky at all. I catch them on purple, caught them on black jigs, but pink is like one of their favorite colors, and I'm green. I caught them on a lot of green stuff. A lot of green chartreuse looking stuff. They like that color. But pink is like, just like their name says, pink salmon. They love things that are pink or searized color, but they'll grab other stuff. They'll grab silver. They'll grab your spoons when you're fishing for other types of salmon. They'll grab your trout gear sometimes. So they're kind of aggressive. It's funny with those salmon though, because sometimes when certain other salmon are in the river, the other salmon, certain species are more aggressive than the others, so they push the other fish out of the hole. It's kind of funny. They actually will be together, but then they'll kind of battle with each other. The different species is kind of funny. Like chum salmon are like a little bit more aggressive, I guess, kind of. Also, so they're quick to jump on your lures and stuff, like pink salmon are, versus like a coho. And a lot of time, what I had when I got the one, which I didn't get the fish very long for this, for the fish were pretty much gone out of that area and up the river. Only got the fish a couple days before those fish were gone. I fished the last end of that run, basically. And I was able to get one fish, but that fish, those fish were really aggressive. But the chums were getting in there. Chum salmon were getting in there at the same time. So there you go. So that's like kind of like a little shrimp and a little pink color. It kind of look like a shrimp. I'm trying to avoid getting. Oh, here it is. I'll always keep one of these around. Hey, crazy. What you doing up around here? What you do? Oh, you just getting up to go to work probably too or something. Start your day, huh? Yeah, I'm up. Messing with stuff. Drinking some mint cocoa. They got what is it? They got some junior mint cocoa. I was like, let me try this. I'm gonna go. You gonna work on some cars or something? Work on some vehicles? Or are you talking about something else? I thought about going fishing later today, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm up. So I'm like, do I want to go back out there and try to catch more of those dang fish, or do I want to do something else today? Yeah, like the candy. It's like the candy. It's like and it goes into Keurig actually. Like it's like a cup, like a cake, the little cake cup things. Mm. Yeah, I haven't bought anything new yet. Any new materials? I have a couple just sitting here that I haven't used. Got some like lime green, some like lime green, fluorescent lime green that I was looking at because I'm gonna tie a few, because I tied a little few mini jigs for like bass and crappie and stuff, little mini smaller ones. But I was gonna make some like salmon ones too, green ones. Make some green ones and see if I can. Won't be using them anytime soon, but I'll have them. I'll have them laying around. And I might use red on this thing. Like I don't know. Like I got this from this place. It was cheap for it, but look what it's doing. Look what that Chanel's doing. It's doing like it's like it's trying to. I don't even know. It's not doing like normal Chanel. If you notice that, it's like laying flat. It's doing weird stuff. So I just twist it like that myself with my hand. Yeah, it's not. It's acting abnormal. Let's just say. That might be why the price is like it is. They probably knew. They're like, oh yeah, there's something wrong with that stuff when it came in. That's probably what happened. They're like, there's something wrong with that stuff. Well, someone will buy it. Just don't say nothing. Working in the Working in the store, working these jobs for. Okay. And hopefully. Yeah, I would think so. You're tying all those crappie jigs and stuff. That's the thing. I go through a lot of white marabou, white marabou, pink, the like cerise, fluorescent, like pink, and then the rabbit hair. I go through it pretty quick, but this time I was smart and I backed myself up with a. So like I got the stuff I already got out, and then I backed myself with like a whole like second bag. Like I doubled up with the colors, so I don't have to go searching for them again. So I'm like, okay, I have a whole nother set of the other colors I like, but I'm running low on the other color because I use it for like a, what do you call it, like an accent color. So I'm running low on that one. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to still go and get more, but probably not till end of the month. So, and then I have to pick up like a couple other little weird things just to some stuff I wanted to, a couple things I want to tie, but I just haven't. It's a matter of finding this stuff, and some of this stuff's like rare stuff, more rare. Some Atlantic salmon stuff. I still haven't gotten around to finding the last couple ingredients I need to make some of those flies, and I was like, I'll get to it because when I tie one of those, I'll be tying it for a while because there's a lot of materials on some of those. And this is that thicker Danville's on this. I got one of those. What do you call it? It's like one of those rolling drawers. It's got like four wheels, and you can roll it. And then it's got like a bigger drawer, another drawer, and then a medium drawer, and then each drawer. And so like, and I put like a thread in the top one, and then I have them all. It's like a tower. It stands up, and you can just roll it around the house. But I have it put away because I don't need all that stuff. I only need certain stuff right now. But when I moved, it was like it made it really easy to because it's not heavy to carry, so it's really easy to just pick up the whole thing and move it. I have both. I use both. Yeah, I use the uni thread. So I try to get the uni thread. If I try to get the 200-yard ones, the 6/0. But for the jigs, I use the 8 because it's like a little heavier. It's a little bit heavier thread. I like never use like the 14/0 and all that other stuff, but I see a lot of people using that for some of the jigs. They use like the big 14/0. Or when they're or then they have that other kind of thread they use for like when you make the rods. I've seen people use that before too, and I was like, it still works. I mean, I just like the thread a little smaller than that. I'm hoping I can wrap this if these are long enough, because these are like woolly bugger, basically like woolly bugger, but this is the Chinese saddle, and it's different. It looks the same as this. The woolly bugger saddle, it's the same length, but it's not this. It's almost the same quality, but it's a little different. Just a little. The texture and the way it wraps is just like a little bit different, but it's the same thing. It gets the same job done, but the qualities like the sheen on it is just a little bit different, and then the way the hackle like I found that in there, and that's almost like a Schlappenfelder. So I found that inside that bag of the it snuck its way in there basically. So they don't always get it where it's perfect in those bags. You can find other feathers that belong somewhere else. But But since this is only like it's not long enough, so it's not like a true slapping feather because that would be longer. So they just left it in with the strung Chinese saddle hackle, and so I just picked it out. I'm like, oh, it's basically like a slapping feather. I just picked through it until I found one, but make a website then. I mean, well, sometimes you gotta pay for those websites to keep them up. You could have done gosh, I don't even know if people still use those, but I had one, but I never finished it. I started on it, I never finished it. I forget what it's called. It's like you can make like a thing like that, but it's like but you're basically using the other company's um, you're using their website basically, but you're making just like you're make a YouTube channel. You're doing the same thing, but you're making it like you can put like you can all kind of like advertise in there in a way, but then you have to link people to that so they can go to it basically. So you could make it where like it shows the jigs that you're selling in there and talk about them, and you can make it like it's like a little editorial type of thing, and then you can put like go to here if you want to buy them. You can do that in there. But the thing is, you have to be able to basically you have to be able to post a link to that page basically because it's using this other company's thing, this other you know websites deal to, but it's meant so people can create like stuff like that, editorials and articles and things in there, and you can make anything. You can talk about fishing, you can talk about yourself and how you like fishing. I forget what it's called though. I have one and it's probably still there. I just haven't logged in to finish it. And it was about jigs. I never finished it. That's like I have like a couple pictures. I never finished it. I probably should and see if that company still is it there. People who run that web page still exist. It's pretty good. This stuff is enough. It's just I never use it. This is the first time I'm using it, and it works really good for the big jigs. But I don't know if I like it for. I believe I tied this one on that, and I'm like, I don't really need it for the little ones. It feels better on the bigger jigs. But the 8/0's perfect to me for the smaller stuff. And then 6/0's and then 6 and below is like 6 is like what I usually always use for everything, flies, everything. But 3/0's like my size 20 type stuff. Yes, I'm gonna use red on this. So that's why I was talking about the red because I was like, I'm gonna use actual true red and not a flame red on this jig, just because of this one. Because that's orange, but it looks like that red. That jig head is orange, but it looks like that red, and it's pink inside there, behind the collar of it, and then a pink tail. I was like, I'm gonna make a jig like that, but marabou. I'm just not liking how this is like the second time I've used this chenille, and it's kind of. I noticed it's kind of doing weird stuff. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to do. I just thought about it. Yeah, we can do that. Here, we're gonna. That's what I'm gonna do. Hold on. I'm going to give it some dubbing. That's what I was gonna do. That was the whole point of that, was to give it dubbing. That was the thing of this. I was gonna make a dubbing thing for this. All right, let's see if we can do this. Wrapping dubbing on this thread is like different. It's a little different because it's thicker thread. At least it's already got wax. They already waxed the thread on it though, so I don't have to do anything. I try to get the thread that's already waxed already, so I don't have to take the little wax block out. That's why you never see me use one of those, because I don't. Even though I have one, but I don't. That's why you'll never hardly ever see me using one, because I usually buy the thread pre-waxed anyway. So if I want to spend that money on the thread, I might as well buy pre-waxed. You know. I was talking to Jack Prepper earlier. He's like, "Do you tie?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, for quite a while. We talked before I disappeared for a while. Explaining the shenanigans I experienced, which I'm still experiencing some stuff, but whatever. Just ignore it. They just want to get under your skin and freak out. When fishing, there were some people and stuff, some things that were going on when I was out there. It's just like whatever. Not I was like, not this stuff again. Not this again. I knew why they were coming around and stuff. Not bad people, not that I know of, but just I understood why they were. We, as nobody really would say. Spinning. Wee. That's what he would say. Right? That move spin. It's the only thing, it tries to wrap up that part, so now I gotta unwrap it. It's trying to wrap up my marabou here. Don't wrap up, tangle up my marabou. Here, we're not worried about it. You're not gonna be able to see it. Oh, there it goes. It's the only thing when you spin this thing, it tries to catch the other stuff, the other materials into it if they're nearby. It tries to catch them. Yep, when you find out you've been targeted in some way, and others are just will say weird things to you, and you realize where it's coming from, and the monitoring and all the stuff that goes on, you start looking at people different too. You realize like some people are just like getting off on it. They think it's fun. They're like, yeah. They're like, you think. Let's see if we can do this. Yeah, we'll just do it like this and see how it comes out. What we're doing here is we're just wrapping this all messily for a reason. Because it'll just be fun to do it this way. We're just adding extra flash. No, it's just this is the heavy one. It's a little bit heavier. This is a 3/8. So this is like that's why I said this is a large humpy jig technically, but it'll still catch them. I just wanted the weight, but they put this on a 4/0, so it's pretty big. That's why I made the tail kind of bigger. But sometimes I make a really huge, sometimes I make a pretty big tail on a small jig. This jig has almost the same volume to it as that. But I do that so it'll fall slower because of because the marabou's so soft and it gets, it shrinks down. So I'll make like a bigger tail to it. And then the hair jigs are more poofy and they already fall slow because that rabbit hair is kind of more buoyant. So marabou, you gotta, like that guy. The tail's kind of short, but there's quite a bit of fur in there. But that's almost the same weighted jig head. It just doesn't have all that paint on it. It doesn't have a bigger 4/0 hook in it, but it's almost got the same weight. Yeah, I want to get some more. I still haven't got any. I'm only got a little bit. I want to get some more squirrel hair. That's what I want to make more jigs with that versus using rabbit. Rabbit's great, but I like using the squirrel sometimes for making jigs like that. I just feel it works better with like bass and like sometimes and panfish sometimes than using the deer or using the rabbit hair. But the rabbit hair is usually cheaper now for some reason. Whatever reason, the rabbit hair is cheaper right now. So tariffs? I don't know. It's been like that for a while though. It was like that in winter too. So I was kind of like, what is going on here? Just pick this stuff out here a little bit. I'm trying to get it to kind of stuff to stick out like you literally could just fish this like this. I'm sure you catch a salmon. Just with this shine wrapped on the hook, even if it looked all ugly, and I left it just like this and tied it off and said, okay, I'm gonna see if I can catch one. I bet you I could catch one. It would just be, I gotta get it in front of one. I have to find one. Sometimes it's just like, it just needs to get it. The lure's right kind of lure. The lure just needs to look the way they like it, and it needs to get in front of them. It just needs to have the colors. It doesn't need anything else. Other times it's, I don't know, it's just they're like, they didn't see everything. Definitely seen that. Or fished a hole because everybody's fished in there, and then they're not biting or moving or anything. But where I fished, the some of the coho kind of react to the certain water, the certain tide and stuff moving a certain way. And then the other species so they don't react the same as much to that tide. They react to it, but the coho seem to like get more bitey when the tide's a certain way or when it's moving a certain way. And the other fish don't seem to care as much. I don't know. I fished this one area, and I've seen the salmon everywhere, and then fishing there, and put jigs in front of them, cast right to where they're jumping, so you know there's at least 20 fish. Never get a bite, nothing, not a single strike, not a single strike. Wait till the tide's a certain way, and then go back there. They're biting on the certain tide. They're biting better. It's something to do with the water level and then the current. It kind of forces them to bunch up or like be able to spread out in the river a little bit more. And I think that's what it is when they get a little bit slightly bunched up just right. They're a little bit more agitated because they're kind of jostling with the other fish in the hole. So when something comes by, they're a little bit more likely to swat at it. And I think that's what it is. They'll still bite, but I just noticed that was one of the things about it. And it's just in a couple particular parts in this river. I just noticed that's helps you betters your chance, basically makes the chances a little better, and it makes it a little easier. But your window is like whatever that tide is, basically. So once that tide starts to like dissipate, it starts to kind of die down. The bite kind of gets better. So, all right, man. You have a good day, man. Be safe. Be safe. Fish care, but don't care. Listen, I believe that though. I think fish care, but then don't care. Like I think it just makes a little difference. Certain things. So like, okay, your percentage went up by like a little bit because you're using the right more of the color that fish likes, or your percentage went up because the tide's running a certain way in this certain area, and those fish kind of are, some big fish are lazy technically. They've learned to not use as much energy in the current. Yeah, I'll see you later tonight. See you. Yeah, big fish are kind of lazy. They want to ride on the tide versus fighting it. They kind of will fight against it, but they kind of go with it. The big fish learn to expend like as little energy until it's time to catch whatever they're trying to eat. That's what my theory's been like for a while. Like until it's time to catch what they want to eat, they'll sit somewhere waiting, for their dinner to come swimming by. So this is what we're trying to do. Is wrap this. So we got like a little shiny gloss going on here. That's why I was picking this out, because we want it to show through the Chanel, even though it's underneath. A little bit of a task to get it to kind of look like you want, but I'm just trying to get this crystal flash dubbing. See, I'm trying to separate that, so then when I wrap it, it comes out through it like that. And that's kind of why when I was tying it, I was like picking it out already because I wanted to come through like this. Oops, bumping stuff. So I want to wrap it. Jigs are just a fun thing to tie, and they work. Even the metal jigs are really cool. The metal jigs are pretty cool to use too. I just know I lost a lot of fish using the big, heavy metal jigs that they use for like tuna and stuff. That's one thing about jigs and spoons. You're gonna lose a fish or two sometimes. And it happened to me. I was fishing for trout on last Friday, and nice trout through the spoon because this big piece of metal in his face. They get leverage when there's a piece of metal like that. They got leverage, so they can wherever they sling their head at. That's where that piece of metal follows. So they'll throw your spoon pretty easy sometimes. Yeah, so the point was to pick this out like this. So it's in between. That's what I was saying. You could have tied this without that, like just like that. Like almost just like that. And it gives it like a cool effect. But they have stuff now that's already like this. It's pre-made like this, but I'm doing it the other way with the real dubbing and everything. But they have stuff that's pre-made like this that you can wrap. So many materials they got now to play around with. To do the same thing with what you already had, or with your patterns that are already existing, and you can doctor them up and do something different. Pick this out on the bottom of it. So that's what I was trying to do, is basically get that all to kind of come out of it. Can't quite get it to do that there, right in there, but that's okay. I don't think the fish care. Remember, the fish don't care. Crazy said, fish don't care. I think they do sometimes, though. Or maybe the fishermen are the ones that care. We care what it looks like. That's what it is. The artiste in our mind Makes us say like, no, they gotta be in this tide moving this way. And well, honestly, I think they'll bite anytime as long as they're hungry. But I've seen fish not bite, and that means they were hungry. That's what it literally was. They were full. And then I seen fish that were so greedy that they still wanted that their bait after and their stomachs full to the brim and they're about to explode, gorging themselves. So it's kind of one of those things, I guess, when you're fishing, I guess. You notice. That's why sometimes I fished and then I was like, I'll come back. I was like, I'll come back later. I was like, that fish won't bite. I was like, I'll come back later. So here we go. Let's see if we can do this. I might have should have put a wire in there. We're gonna see. So we're gonna go underneath with that, like right there. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make. I don't think it's gonna make it. Yeah, I didn't think it would. It's a pretty big jig. Let's go like this and see if we can make it work. Oh, there it is. Let's see if we can do this. I'm trying to get it to work. It's just a messy looking jig right here. I think it'll work. Even with the little fuzzy collar right there. It's basically how I wanted it to look. I wanted this a little cleaner looking, but make sure they're snug. It's snug. But that was the goal. But it's basically a humpy jig, so it's not gonna look perfectly pretty, but what I just was thinking about doing. But hey, man, what's up? It depends. This jig I did, and I did that did it for the short. I think it took me that one I did really fast. It actually took me. I was able to do that one actually in one shot without editing anything. So it's all on hyperlapse, not edited, straight through. So I think it took me, and you only can make a short. Short usually is like 60 seconds or whatever. So it's like a minute almost. So I did it in under that time. Or no. Yeah, under a minute. So that was like a minute and something. And then that they compress a minute and something like that, and they compress, and I compressed the time or something like that. No. What was it 10 minutes? And then it's compressed. I think it's 10 minutes and it was compressed to, I think it was like 15 minutes or something, and it compressed it to like, I think it was 15 minutes and it compressed it to, I can't remember how many seconds, but it compressed it. So, and that was it. And that usually you have to do that. And sometimes I have to do those and kind of edit them. But sometimes 20 minutes, sometimes it depends on what you're tying. Big jig like this is like a little bit, take me a little longer. But yeah, that was what I was trying to do, was make it so that that dubbing comes out in between the hackle. Now you can kind of see what I was trying to do. So it looks all frizzy like that. Yeah, I wanted the dubbing to come out in between here. And then what I wanted to do, and then I want to take this. Yeah, rotisserie. I was laughing because I saw rotisserie on one of the other chats, and I was like laughing at him because I was like, why are you over here? You betrayed me, man. You betrayed me. He's like trying to buy some fishing stuff from. He was buying a fly from. He was buying some. He was ordered some flies or something from someone else, or he was saying he was, or he was thinking about it. I was laughing because I was like, yeah, you're funny. Like, you betrayed me. You didn't want to buy one of mine. He's like, well, do you sell them? I'm like, yeah, kind of. Sort of. Yes and no. Sort of. He's like, well, I want this specific one. And I was like, oh, you want that stuff? I was like, oh, I have to order that stuff. The material he wanted, what he was looking at that makes what he was wanting was kind of like it's a specialty kind of thing. So I was like, oh, yeah, that's something that particular person kind of came up with. Who I met that person. So I was like, I've met that guy before. As always, I've met a lot of people in my little fishing journeys. Some stuff was good and some stuff was bad. So we're gonna. Yeah, I was talking to Crazy one day, and he's like, "I don't have salmon over here." I'm like, "I know that, man," because I was just talking about it. I'm like, "It's still fishing. I just talking fishing." He's like, "I don't have salmon here." I'm like, "I know you guys don't, unless you want to drive over to Chicago or somewhere, or Michigan, Lake Michigan, one of them tributary rivers that comes off of there has salmon." I was looking at it. I was like, "Is there any place over there?" And then they were like, "This river and this river." Because I was thinking about visiting somebody who lives over there. And I was like, man, if I stayed there and to move there, is there a place to catch salmon? I was like, oh, yeah, there is. There is a place to catch salmon in. So he had me cracking up when he's like, run, I don't got those fish. I'm like, I know. I mean, we have Washington is kind of cool because we have pike, we got muskie, we got in a few places, we got common carp, we got mirror carp, we got grass carp in a few places, we got burbot, we got rainbow trout, we got cutthroat trout, we got Dolly Varden trout, we just have a little bit of everything going on. But some stuff you have to go find. We have real wild golden trout, like up in the mountains. We have we have sea running cutthroat trout. We have we have sockeye salmon. We have landlocked sockeye salmon. We have king salmon. We have coho salmon. We have pink salmon. We have chum salmon. We even have Atlantic salmon that ain't supposed to be here. That accidentally got out of net pens some years, long time ago, and then people were catching them, and some of them ended up in the rivers and stuff, and they're not supposed to be in there. So there's no limit on those. If you catch one here, you can catch as many as you want, but they're few and far between. But they do appear every once in a while. Someone catches one. They do appear randomly, and they're legal to keep because they're not supposed to be here. We got out of the fish farm long time ago. They got out of a fish farm and everybody was catching them, and then in the ocean they were catching them, and then I think some of those fish ended up getting into the rivers, and so we're still getting residual from that, from Atlantic salmon that escaped a long time ago. Every once in a while, someone catches one. So I'm assuming there might be some breeding in one of our rivers somewhere, but I don't know. So that's kind of interesting. And those were hatchery raised, meant for food, got loose. And next thing you know, years later, people said, "Oh, I caught one fishing for salmon, for other kind of salmon. I caught one." So, all right, so we're just gonna make a collar on this deal. That's what this was for. And we're almost done with this jig. Just taking my time. Yep. And wrap it over. Try not to wrap bone too much on the hackle itself. But yeah, this is just a messy looking jig that I'm making right here. It's basically gonna be when salmon season does come, I'm gonna abuse this jig basically. Because humpies don't really care that much as long as it moves right and it looks the colors they want. Come on. Fishy, fishy, fishies. Yeah, all this stuff that goes on sometimes is just, I don't know why these groups do these things to people. I really don't get it. My nature is a pretty chill nature, so I'm always kind of like, and I've had some weird stuff too, but I don't know why some of these groups do this stuff. I don't know what it is. Control. It's some kind of control, psychological controls of people and stuff. It's terrible though because it prevents people from finding sometimes it makes people can't find true or right happiness sometimes, and then maybe people be wondering why because they're asleep. They don't understand that these other people are being bothered on a daily. Some people. Yeah. All right, here we go. Gotta sweep these hackles back. See, so it's like looks super messy now, but once we get this, try and get that last piece, a couple hackles to go where I want them to. Hey, Jen. Morning. So that's what I was trying to do. Let's give it a nice, the little pink collar on it. I might put another one just because, so it really shows up good. I think I am. I'm gonna put another one. Let me unwrap. I'm gonna put one more in there. I want it to really show up good. Give it one more of these. So I can find one. See, See if I can find the lucky feather in here. Looking for another one like that one. Like this one. It's different size than like all the rest. Different size from all the rest. Yep, I did have bad insomnia for quite some time, but today I'm just up. I've actually been getting some sleep, sort of. Some stuff kind of calmed down, but it's still going on, I guess that would be the words for it. Some things that were happening around me kind of calmed down, but yet they're but yeah, it's still some weird stuff is still happening, but I'm just kind of ignoring when I have these weird situations around me. I'm just like, just don't bother. As long as they're not bothering me, we're good. Yeah, that's kind of what I did. I had the junior mints, some junior mints cocoa, and then I mixed it with some coffee, with like 1 cup of coffee, and then I put it in the tumbler. That is what I'm drinking right now. Some junior mint cocoa, hot chocolate. So it's like half hot chocolate, and then the other half is coffee. And I'm having issues with this resin, but something fun to play with. I'm like, I think it's the brand itself, or it was tampered with. I think that's pretty much my honest opinion. But I'm still using it. I'm not gonna waste it. I didn't spend that much money on it, so. Okay, and then we're gonna wrap one more. Let's see. And I'm doing this hackle backwards too, versus the other way. So it has a taper to it. This is actually going the opposite taper. So it doesn't have a taper. The taper's going big to small versus small to big, which most people would tie it small to big. Most fly tires would tie it small to big. I'm tying it big to small on this one. Sometimes I like to tie it the reverse way, even though the hackle's smaller on the front. Still works, but as you can see, it's just a little different type of deal. Effect it gives, kind of smaller in the front. Still works the same. When you're fishing it, it's just a slightly different look. That's all. That's mostly what it is. Sometimes it's just a different look. Come on, get out of the way. Hackle. Trying not to catch those other hairs. There's hackle pieces in there. Not ready for that yet. Thank you. Yeah, I just do it together. It kind of looks like the one I have on the pic post, you know. It's kind of like that one, but it's a little different. Same thing. So, even though I didn't do it the right way, by playing with those feathers like I did, the way that some do it, it almost looks exactly the same. It's just now it goes big to small versus small to big. Yeah, we'll make it even. Oh, see, I want that in there. Cool. I think it came out all right. There you go. Pretty good. Let's see if it'll focus for me. Yeah, I'm telling crazy. I was like, I'm using this thicker thread on this one. It's not like I haven't used this brand before, but this is a little bit thicker type for the jig. And it works pretty good for these bigger jigs. But I noticed when I used that resin on here, I was like, I don't know if I like that. I still kind of like my old cement glue. It seems, and I usually like put it in there, and it'll dry pretty quick. Still pretty quick, a little longer than that resin stuff. It doesn't instantly harden or anything, but half the time I would tie those before I leave the house. By the time I get to the river, even if it was slightly wet or something, it'd be dry by the time I cast it a few times. It'll hold, and I could catch fish. Fish weren't turned off by the smell of the glue or anything. This one, it's like tacky. It made it tacky, like gummy type of the glue. I noticed was very tacky, like, I was like, something's up with this. Yeah, these are big old. These hooks will stab you. He's got stabbed almost. Not wearing my glasses either. Where's my head? Let's try to wrap this up. Put it away. I wish I could go make some dollars right now. I had a hard time even working with people after what happened to me. I was still working with people too. Like, it was crazy. Of my job and everything, but it just made it a little bit more difficult. And then on top of that, I was still being stalked around town by these different people and stuff. And the people I was dealing, the people who were doing these things basically wanted me to look they wanted me to look out of sorts, you know, even though I was basically trying to recover from being poisoned. So they wanted me to look like a crazy person. So then, you can be discredited when when if something happens to you, a weird situation, they can discredit you because they go, well, we got on record here that says that, there's people really going out doing that so they can do stuff to people. And they make it look like, oh, well, that person was having mental problems. It's like, it's not always what it is. I learned that really quick. And I met other people who were having that issue. Like I was having, people were doing stuff to them, and I tried to help them if I could and explain, like, this is this group over here. And for some reason, they have an issue with certain people. There's something about you. I try to help them, like, understand. And I help some of them are doing really well. And I was like, man, I wish I would have had that one. I was having, it's kind of like that. It's like, I wish I would have had someone to tell me that, to help me when I was going through it, and I didn't. I had to figure it out on my own. And even then, yeah, isolation can really be difficult when you know it's being done to you and it's not you. It's the others that are causing it. So, some people think it's fun because they're in on it. They want you to be like that. I know how it goes. I know exactly how it goes. I don't know what it is, why they don't want it. I think it's, I don't know. As I said, is it spiritual? I don't know. It probably, it demonstrated something. Let's see. Okay, good. They're in there. Trying to move these around a little bit. I would want to travel again. I would travel again. I just would treat it differently, though. I would treat it totally differently. Imagine being a teen and someone doing that to you. That guy he's still preaching though, and but he's talking about the evils that go on. I give him that. He doesn't like to call himself that, but he's still preaching about it after what happened. So, and he does have like over 1,000 now, but now he does have over 1,000 subs now. So there's people who are taking notice to what he's saying. It's good. It's a good thing, but it's also, I know that he had his own little issue. That's part of the masquerade, as they say. And I know other people know what I'm talking about. Most people just don't like talking about it. They'd rather, because they don't want that drama, that stuff. But me, I just said, I'm tired of I just got tired of it. I'm just like, I'm tired of this crap happening. You just want to be happy in life, and you're having all that stuff happen, and it's another group is trying to control even your life and others' lives. And but yet they're telling us we're free. So that can be kind of weird. They tell us we're free here, but then that stuff's happening all the time to people. Kind of makes you wonder, don't it? And then you watch others and they're doing, some of these mucky mucks. The mucky mucks, as you say, it seem like they have all the money, and you find out some of them aren't having the best of time either with some of this stuff. And it's just has to do with power, a group that has power in the shadows, in the shadow realm. And that's all it is. And sometimes they just realize you can see stuff. You can see their little games they're playing. And that's what makes it hard to be in like romantic relationships, when you realize that stuff's going on. Because you realize people are being sent. Some people are sent to you because they're not legitimate. They might really like you or something, but they're not. Sometimes they're not legitimate. They were sent to come towards you. Some people. And when you find that out, it's kind of what's that word? That's a word. Concerning or disconcerting. Disheartening or something. Because you're just like, ugh, that's what's going on. Honey traps, and they come in men form and women form. So it's not just men that get those. And it's not always because you have money. Sometimes it's literally about breaking you down, learning about you. That's why they come towards you. And then sometimes they really do like you and they might fall in love with you. And then I met a few people like that. They're involved in some of these things. They really did fall in love eventually. Some of them was because of their money they had. Some of them was because other reasons. Crazy world we live in. Crazy world we live in. So far, I've had 4 different relationships where it was like that. But it was, they didn't, they were being too worldly in a way, I guess. Well, I watched a lot of them, and there's a few I stopped. I realized, like, I was like, no. Sometimes I'll watch Cindy. I'll still watch Skipjack sometimes. There's history there, so I'm like, and I don't, hate her or nothing. And I watch her and Travis and Lumi, and then Seasons. I'll watch him sometimes for a little bit. Say, hey, what's up? I mean, well, also I've met these individuals too. So most of the ones I watch are the ones I've met, and I'm like, yeah, I know that's how you really are with some stuff. I know you kind of leave like that's your personality. You really are. And some of the other ones, I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. I met Washington Adventures a couple times. He just doesn't remember. I met him out when I was working. he was just fishing, and I'm going to go down here, and he just was into his fishing, and then now he's like, we met before. I'm like, yeah, you just don't remember. It's a long time. I met a lot of people. They just don't remember. I was just passing through, you know, and sometimes trying to be the person who keeps people from getting hurt. You get hurt. What's to say that you're the one who gets duped? Yeah. Yeah, I've realized that, so I have to be more. I've stopped being like that now as much. I'm a little bit more, pay more attention to stuff. But trying to run around and help people sometimes, you know, you might not get appreciated or something might happen, and people are like, "What are you talking about? You didn't do anything," because they don't see what you see going on. So that's what's kind of why what happened to me. The person who had the control didn't like that I was doing that, so I think they didn't mind if I helped people, but they didn't like when I try to stop certain things from happening because I could see it caused trouble for that person or something, and I just happened to be there. So it's like, oh, I know what's happening here. I'm like, don't do this. This is what's gonna happen to you. And then they're like, you set it up. You knew. You did this. You knew. And I said, no. It's just like I saw it coming beforehand, and you know, my intuition could see it. My spirit could see. I was like, oh, this is something staged. Like somebody's trying to do something to you, and I don't want that to happen. So you seem cool, even though some people I only knew them for. I only got to talk to them for a couple of hours, and I would see something going on, and people, you should just mind your business. You know, they get mad at you, and you're just like, I'm just trying to help, break free, break free. I'm like, break free a little bit. Some people don't want to. They're like, I'm fine as long as as long as they get with their stuff they want, they're fine with it until they see the negative part, and then they go, that's what that person was talking about, and you're like, yeah, like, yes. There's a negative part, there's the duality, there's a negative duality in there in some of this stuff that goes on in this world. Cut some of this back. All right, I don't know, what do you let the guys think? I think it came out pretty good. Let's see if it'll so that's what it was. I was trying to get the that part like that. See, so now that red, you can tell it's red, but it's almost like now you don't even know that's red. You almost don't even know that's red anymore now. Sometimes I put glue on this piece too, because this will shift, especially once it starts getting water on it. Sometimes if you don't do that snug enough, it will shift, and you have to be careful to not to get it too snug because it will break. You'll break the hackle. But if you can, so sometimes I'll like take the dropper thing and like put glue on the little pieces wrapped down in there, just to make sure it'll stay secure over the channel. And plus, because I have this dubbing, it's sitting on top of the dubbing, so it looks like it's snug, and that's why you see me. I was grabbing it because I wanted to make sure that hackle feather that's wrapped isn't sliding. Same thing with the front one. I was kind of like making sure it doesn't slide, and that's why I put a little bit of glue down the body too, so like just a touch of glue holds it. And once this whole thing, this whole jig gets dry in the next like 30 minutes, it's gonna just, it'll be solid, and it'll like, and those salmon's teeth are gonna really mess with this lure once you start fishing it. And if you catch a bunch, they'll be tearing. They can tear a jig apart pretty good after a while. That's how you know if your jig lasts a couple years, the same jig, and you never lose it, and it still catch a fish, you know you made a good jig. So there it is. Just got like that. And even though those are just on the side, now it looks like it's on the top, wrapped around the whole thing. It's kind of an illusion. That's an illusion right there. It looks like I put this part all the way around it when I only put it on two sides. If you look at it, if you look in there, it's actually only on two sides. But because now it's setting in and tied down solid, it's going around the whole thing. pink goes around the whole thing. And then the tail, if you look at the tail's got like it's a two-tone pink for that center tail. And see, it can move in between that those two feathers, because these are stiffer on the outside. So that's why I said it's kind of like a shrimp, sort of, but it's a jig, sort of like a shrimp, sort of. Yeah, I said I'm gonna tie one. It's like makeup. Yeah, I just threw it together. I have a couple that are like this one. Let's hang this. I can hang this up now. It's dry. They're kind of similar, but it's done differently. So like similar, but you can see how bushy the tail is on that little pom-poms. And that's the one in that picture in the live. It's been in the box now, so it doesn't look as pretty. It's been in its little storage. So, yeah. It's been in its little storage container. See, and then there's that one. These ones have been kind of stored away in the jig box of creations. And yeah, here in this one, a little jig box of creations and stuff. So this one basically I just made was tied after this one. It's tied to resemble this one. The little crystal dubbing in this body. So that's what that was all about. But I added more dubbing and I used red in the body instead of pink. Hey, Rude. Rude. Yeah, I'm drinking this. Yeah, here. I don't even know why. I don't know why I'm telling you. I'm telling you, like when humans, when we think something, I'm telling you, I know that it communicates to other people sometimes. Like it's telepathy. It's crazy. But yeah, I just got the grab box. All kinds of salmon jigs in there and humpy jigs. Yeah. Yeah, this is let's see. Hot chocolate. But it's like this. It's in like the Keurig cup. Tastes alright. Put like half a cup of coffee in my little tumbler cup. And then half chocolate in there. Tastes alright. Tastes pretty good. Like early morning. I think this jig came out pretty good. Take it out of here. It's just like that's a big hook though. It's a pretty big hook. Nice stuff. Trying not to get the glue on it. Put it right here on this box. To dry. Oh, I need to tie one of those too. Oh, no, we can tie. We'll tie one of these. Because I wanted to tie these two. And then I'm going to call it after this. I did once. And everybody was, and then my subscriber count jumped by like 30. I did that once, Cade. And then I deleted the live. I've showed my face like twice. You just weren't tuned in at that time. No one wants to see this mug. This mug of mine. I mean, I think when I'm fishing live anyways, people were walking around me, they can see me. Unless I was wearing a mask or something. But a few people would remember me if they see me. I was like, oh, do I remember this dude? I remember him from this time. Like, it wasn't me, man. I told you. I told you back then. You didn't listen. That happens, though. People don't be there. They lose trust because of the situations, and I don't blame them because I've had it too. You lose trust in people and new people because of those bad situations like that, and you're not sure who to trust. And I've had it happen too, and I think it's just a means of isolating people from each other. I think it's just a means of isolating sometimes. And certain people, they're like, well, if we do these things to them and they isolate, then then you don't have as much, you don't have that support. Like if something goes around, it's just you. And there's people out there who like that. No, man. Maybe. Eventually, maybe. But well, I mean, there's a couple people I might end up fishing with a couple of people anyways. Other YouTubers anyways. I mean, Seasons has seen what I look like. Lumi's met me before. She might not remember what I look like, but she's met me before in person. She was fishing at one of her spots. I went there, and she was fishing. And she was fishing, and I walked up and talked to her, and she was just sitting out there fishing, and we were talking, and that woolly bugger, I showed her that woolly bugger, actually, the one I tied on my live near Christmas, Thanksgiving time. That one I've tied 2 times and made it, redid it over. I showed her that woolly bugger pattern because that one can catch steelhead, summer steelhead. And I showed her that, and she was like, "That's cool." And she was at the lake fishing, or I think it's really like a pond, but I know where that place is. I know where like 2 of those places she fishes. I've been there before. It's just a drive to go down there. I know exactly like where it is. I'm just like, that's a drive to get over there. I kind of know where it is. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember going there. I know that spot. I want to go do some lahontan. Get some of those lahontan. That's what I want to go get. The lahontan cutthroat. That's what I want to try to catch. This marabou's falling apart right now. This one's falling apart. Oh my gosh. Look how they dyed this one kind of. It looked brown and green. It's supposed to be black. I'm just gonna do 3. I'm trying to tie them up and see. I'm just taking my time. Okay. Eventually, yeah, but Seasons knows what I look like. K-Fish knows what I look like. But even though he hasn't seen me in years, he knows what I look like too. We've talked in person before. We just forget as humans. So even me, I forget. Yeah, people forget. Like I had to remind him. I'm like, hey, wait, don't you remember? And it's me. Hello, you met me before. And he's like, oh, and he's like, I don't trust stuff. I'm like, me too. But I'm not. I don't want to really do anything to you, man. It's not like that. It's just there's these things that go on in this world. That's the problem. Those things that go on drive a wedge between people and those stupid situations, and they're manipulated situations. So, oh yeah, that's what we wanted to do. Yeah, we wanted to do all this one. That's all it is. That's pretty much what happens. So we're gonna do pink marabou. We're gonna do one pink marabou. See, in this one, instead of doing 2 pieces, like separate, like I did with that other one, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna take all of it. Do all this at once. So I'm gonna hit the pink feather. We're having technical difficulties. Hang on, folks. Hold on. Let's see if I can do this. I'm gonna try to do it in one thing here. Like, I'm trying to do like this. If I can get it to cooperate with me. Guess we're gonna have to. It's not gonna. That one feather don't want to cooperate with me. One marabou doesn't want to cooperate, so. It's just opera. It's acting crazy. I guess that's okay. I can. See, this is a little smaller jig, so I don't need as much marabou to make it. I was wondering where you went because for a while you were sick, Caden. I was like, where did he go? I was like, where did he go? And then you left me a message or whatever. And you're like saying something, please, something. I was like, what? I was like, what is he talking about? I wasn't quite sure what you were meaning. You left like on the comment section thing. I'm not sure what you were meaning. I was trying to figure that out. I was like, what is he talking about? And I meant any fins before too, if I can remember correctly. Those road trips were something else. Bumping into people and stuff. And I was a young person back then. Just going wherever I was told to go. Because I liked fishing and just seeing the countryside. Still do, but certain situations it made me less prone to want to do that. But I still trust some people. There's a few people I still want to go visit. They haven't seen me in years. I'm like, it would be fun to visit them because they were good people. They're good people. And that's, to me, what matters the most. And nobody's perfect either. There's some situations that are just, I realize they're put before us that are not, it's not always what as it appears, and it's not always their fault. Even some really dark stuff that goes on. Really dark, evil stuff. I realize sometimes it's not even the person's fault. Well, the perception of society would say different. They'd be like, oh, that person's normal. I'm like, wait a minute. How did that happen in the first place, though? We're only going to put a couple pieces of crystal flash in here. Into the black part. I haven't tied in front of somebody who ties on live all the time now, and showed them stuff. So it's kind of neat to see the progression from that was years ago. And it's like they tie now, and they have much. Let's just say they have more subs than me, and we converse, and it's kind of neat. It's neat now when I think about it. Like, this is cool to watch, like, from how they were tying before till now, to see their like progression, from then. And I was like, I was older than that person, but I was still kind of a teen myself. I was a teen myself when I met them. And now I'm old. Like, I'm old now. Old head now. But they still tie, so it's like, it's cool to watch them tie and stuff. And talk about the flies and different things. And see how they tie now versus how they started out when they were, you struggle and it needs to look like this. And no, you just tie their thing stuff. And over time, you get more efficient, or you learn a different way to do something to tie the thing. Three, one more. This is why I never throw away any of my crystal flash that falls down that I cut. Because I usually end up picking it up off of the table and just putting it in the fly RG. Okay, so now Some jigs take like 20 minutes. You can just take your time. They take less time. I mean, you take your time, they take a little bit more time, but they come out nicer. I like meeting good people. That's what I like. I like meeting good folk who ain't trying to do all that weird stuff. Pink and black. We're going pink and black. We're going pink over black. I do believe there's good people though, just as much as there's darkness out there. Whatever's being perpetuated in our society, I think it's just a way of, just like I said, it's just a way of certain stuff. It's just it's just like certain controls, and certain people don't answer to them the same as others, and it's just kind of how it's always been. And certain people understand what's going on, others don't. It's just kind of the way of things, I guess. Some stuff still makes no sense though. I'm like, why would they even sitting there like, why would they do this? They just doing all kind of random stuff. Like, why are they doing that? And you find people like trying to find a way to scapegoat on others for stuff that they chose to do purposely to try to scapegoat somebody. So it's kind of, it's true manipulation at its finest. And I met a dude who said, "I'm gonna try to make you like Jesus." I said, "Ooh, heck." I said, "What are you trying to do?" I said, "Oh, you're trying to do something weird here, or somebody's planning some weird stuff out here." Realize how crazy the world could be at that point. How weird some people really are a psychological case, and they want you to be the psychological case so they can do whatever they do. Because they know you see what they're doing with stuff. The blasphemy in there. Well, we'll say this about you. We'll make up something. So one person told me, we'll just make you look like this. I was like, what? Why? Cause. Just because, like, no reason. They could just left you alone. No reason. People crazy like that. And then people who do that will tell you you're the crazy one. You know, if you ever study psychology, that's like sort of like the sociopathic stuff, like 101. And so just some black chenille here. I'm bumping this. low. Very good. 2, 3. All right, here we go. We're getting ready to go here. Never know this thing. Alrighty, got our Chanel all done. We tying. Yeah, it is. I got the Xbox on right now. Like, that's 5:15 here. 5:17. Yeah, these little jigs are a lot easier than some of the little intricate flies and midges sometimes, and sometimes the midges and the other stuff is really easy. Yeah, the world's kind of crazy. The chatter that goes on. So like sometimes you can't even say anything. Like I said something on a live one. That went on right onto another live. Someone else's live was saying the same thing after I said it. I was like, it's like mirroring. It's crazy how that works. Sometimes mirroring, like you don't even think that what you said, you didn't think nobody was listening, and find out there was people listening. Next thing you know, you see them talking about something similar that you said because now they started thinking about what you said, and they're like, "He's right." And you're like, "Hey, wait a minute." Like, hey, they're using that too, which I don't think is that wrong with it. No, that's just human nature. We're gonna learn from each other. It's just how you go about it, I guess. Yeah, see, it's moving a little bit. Still fishable. It's moving just a little bit. So I said, try to time pretty snug. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it just like it is. It'll fish. And if I don't like it, I can always add. I used to be super perfectionist about some of this stuff, but sometimes I'm not. I just know it needs to be like this, and that will hold. A little bit more tougher on the salmon stuff because they're bigger fish. But these smaller jigs, I just time good enough. And I remember getting the old ones, the ones made in like the 80s, and they were barely tied on those hooks, and they would catch fish left and right. They were just a little bit of Chanel wrapped on there, and they weren't tied too snug or anything. And those would catch crappie and everything. And they used to sell those like, man, those were when the jigs were cheap. Those were just some really cheap jigs, and they would catch fish. Not bad. Don't know if you guys can see. Well, we'll get it glued down first. Yep. We learn. About these groups, the powers, the things that go on. I try to. I don't mind going to some people's channels and stuff and checking them out. Even some that I don't go on as much anymore. I still like if I see something I think that's cool. I still like their stuff. You know, I still kind of like stuff. I still support even if I can't get on there. I still try to support them because I like my fishing. Doing all right, man. I kind of woke up at a weird time today, so I went to sleep too early. I was talking to Tish about it. So she was in here, as you can see, and then we were talking about it. She was like, "I'm up," and then someone was like, "I went to bed too early." I was like, "Yep, it's kind of like what I did too. I kind of went to sleep too early." So I've been up since like 1 o'clock. So I just went and made my coffee and said, "Well, I'm gonna be up. I'm gonna be up." That's just how it is. And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna tie a jig then. I'm gonna tie some jigs then." I was supposed to have tied a few of these already, and I haven't been tying them, and so I needed to tie one anyway. This color, I'm supposed to make a few of these. Just can't quite get there. This camera kind of does some funny stuff. Sometimes it focuses perfectly, and other times it's like blurry. There it goes. Oh, there it goes again. So it's like a hot pink and black jig. I wanted to make one to fish for those trout with it, this in this color too, because it looks like it would. Looks like it'd be like fishy. Real fishy. Looks like it would catch some. There we go. Nice little bully bugger marabou, hot pink, fluorescent pink. And then we tied this crazy one. We got this one though. And this is the one we tied earlier. It's really got some stuff going on if you look at it. It's really got some different things going on with it. But it's a salmon jig. I made that for humpies. Just something fun to throw at them, even though I know they'll bite it. No question that they're gonna bite that jig. I'm trying. I'm out here. I'm out here. Trying to tie up some stuff. Catch a few fish. I had one of the people from the Omnimatrix. I'm out here. I'm trying. I had someone from the Omnimatrix approach me when I was fishing, and I knew, and he'd approached me before years ago, and he showed up again, and I was like, "Yeah, you knew I was down here." I was like, "You knew I was down here." I was like, "It's okay though," and and then he was like, "What's the size limit?" And blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, "Yeah, I knew you were down here. You're trying to give me a weird conscience." And then I was just like, "No, you know what? It's fine." I was like, "This is not a big deal." There was a couple people actually, and I recognized them all, and I'm like, just a coincidence we're all here at the same time in the same places. Yeah, I'm fishing in the same spot, and everybody's sitting on the same benches, and I'm like, the last time I seen y'all was like 10 years ago. Yeah, right. I was like, yeah, right. You know, I said it too, and then somebody screamed something, and I was just like, I don't know. I don't know. I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, I don't know what that's all about. I'm going home now. No, I think some people, man. All right. Yeah. Hot pink, black, two color, two tones. Then Darius popped in um, on Monday or the day before. I was like, oh, hey, what's up? This is probably going to be it. I've tied that other one, and it took me a while to get that done. I needed to tie one of these. I actually was supposed to tie another two more, and then I need to tie another two more of these, and then I have some stuff I'm trying to send out to someone, kind of. So I'm kind of like, I've been kind of, because I've been fishing, I've kind of been just taking my time with it. And I've sent them some other, like something similar to this before. It's a crawfish. Just a crawfish. Nothing fancy. It's just a crawfish, you know, imitation jig. Nothing too crazy about that. Yeah. And that's so I was like, well, I'll tie one more while I'm at it at the live. Might as well. I'm really like, because now it's warmer and fish are starting to bite. I'm like, really get biting around here. I'm like, might be tying less often, but I'll still be putting out still be doing content for tying content still. Still will be. Still will be. I was getting more comfortable creating different stuff. And one night I did the I need to do another one. I'm gonna try another one of these. The big saltwater streamer, big ocean streamer. All right, y'all. We're gonna get out of here. Been on here for 2 hours, tying and chatting. I'm trying. Just you gotta just go after it, right? Or else you're not gonna be able to. It's not gonna happen. So you just gotta try. That's all it takes. It's just a little bit of try effort. I think. And then you get more comfortable. Getting used to the fishing is kind of different. Is difficult. Trying to have the harness that mount on is pretty difficult. Hey, stink bug, what up, bug? Bugs in the house. It gets difficult with that harness though when you're trying to fish and wear that mount and like cast and stuff. I'm like still adjusting that thing and trying to get used to it. And then when it's sunny out, it's hard. It's hard to see. When the sun comes out like that really good, it's hard to see the chat. And I keep adjusting the screen, like the little color scheme, and because you can change it from like a dark black color scheme highlighted with like white writing, or you can change it to like a kind of like a gray black writing with like a white background on it. So I've been just playing with the phone settings, trying to see which looks better when it's sunny outside. But it's still pretty hard to see the chat, kind of. So sometimes I'm like, is there somebody saying something? I can't tell. Trying to get used to that, and it's mounted on you, and making sure you secure that phone, because if you lean over the water and that phone is coming and it's not secured, it's coming out of there and it's going in the water. You gotta make sure you secure that phone to that mount before you start fishing and it's down, or else it's good because it's strapped to you, or it's falling in the lake. Yeah, you too. The day's just beginning. Sun's just coming up. Yeah, it's like 5:30 now. You too. Have a good day, and we're getting some nicer weather. Hopefully we get the year gets a little better. Yeah, them phone. I'm thinking about even this is a different phone than what I had before, and I'm already thinking about getting another phone. A different one that's a little bit better than this one. This one's like quality's okay, but I'm thinking about going the next like the one that's like 2 more up from this one, and seeing, and then keeping this service, and then just getting another service just because of the tying and the fishing, so I can do some other, so then I can actually take some pictures of some different things. Yeah, I need it also just because like you can take pictures. Sometimes you just want a bunch of pictures. I like sometimes I just want a few pictures of like the water and stuff. And sometimes when you're streaming, you can't really do that. You can't really do that until you get off the stream. And some things you see when you're fishing, you'd wish you could just take a picture of it. And if you only have one phone, or you don't have a camera with you, then you can't. I have a camera, but it doesn't. It's a pain to convert the format now because of the age of the camera. It's still 1080, but it's just for some reason they make it difficult. They made it difficult to format and convert. And it was when I first started using it, it converted perfectly fine. And then I think they did something with the programming and how the software works together. The new stuff versus newer stuff works with that. So like that particular brand. So I'm like, yeah, I probably should get like just to get a different phone that's got a little bit better quality. But so that'll be $100, 100 and something, which is cheap. It's pretty cheap for a phone. These phones $700 for a phone, $1,000 for a phone. Like I don't know because it does all these things. I don't know. It's a lot for a phone. This phone I got didn't cost me that much. I don't think I've ever paid over a couple $100 for a phone. Maybe 200. maybe. And that was good enough for me. But I did see. Oh no, I could get an iPhone too. Thought about that. There was an iPhone I could get for the service I had. A type of one I could get. It's not the newest one, but it might work. But I'm gonna get this other one, and it's got that waterproof case on it, and that's why I want to get the the other one, so I can have a waterproof case. So then I can fish in the rain. So I'll be able to fish when it's raining. That's why I want to get this other one because I can fish when it's raining, and I don't have to worry about like your hands get a little wet. You don't have to worry about it totally being. Yeah, you know. I think this other one's like almost two, and it's got like and it has a waterproof case that goes with it. So then you can actually technically stick it under the water and take pictures of the fish when you're releasing them and stuff. So I think that's gonna turn into like my main phone, and then this one is just gonna turn into like, or this one will be like This one will be like my main phone for talking and stuff. The one I'm using now, but then that one will kind of be like a separate thing, like a separate line and everything. I'm thinking about doing that, or just switching this one to that one, and then putting a service back on this one. Whichever is the easiest way to do it. But yeah, it's got like a waterproof like thing to it. I don't think this phone has it. If they had one, I think I would already had it already. I don't think they have one for this phone, and that's what it is. This is a Samsung, but the other one's a Samsung also, but it has like this case designed for it. So it's like I think it's that. That's what I realized. It's like, oh, that one's better quality. It's probably got. I said, I bet you it's got better streaming on it too. I bet you it's more a little bit less pixelated. It'll be a little less pixelated, a little better quality. But this is coming out okay sometimes when I'm fishing. Sometimes it's got a really good quality, and then other times it doesn't. Like it's just based because of the streaming and the service, and then when you're moving around, you know, when you're sitting in place like I'm at now, you're good. You know, it comes in really good because I'm getting the Wi-Fi and everything. I'm getting the fastest speed and everything. Yeah, I think I'm getting like 80. I think I'm getting like over like 80 right now. The speed's at like 80 something right now, so that's like pretty good. So it's not too bad. The delay and stuff isn't too bad, and it looks pretty clear. If I can get it to focus. Yeah, if I can get it to focus. But all right, I'm out of here. Yeah, it's pretty good speed. It's like I think I want to say the service is like 100 and something. But once it hits the Wi-Fi, you know, the speed goes down a little bit. But I'm not too far from the router, so it's not too bad. Ex cable man, ex internet installer. So I'm aware of them internet speeds and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. You guys have a good morning. Hope you enjoyed this fly tying, jig tying, lure tying episode. And I will catch you next time. We'll be fishing or tying more jigs or flies or something. Definitely will. I definitely will. It's all you can do. You only got two options: either you get more depressed or come up out of it. That's that's the choices you got sometimes. So, all right, I'm out of here. Peace.